Congratulations, you just got your first show calf. Let me show you a few different ways to put a rope halter on. My name is Jacqueline Prestigard. I'm an Extension Livestock Sustainability Specialist with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. And today we're going to show you a few different ways to put a halter on and tie up your show calf. So anytime that you're working with livestock, don't work by yourself, especially if it's your first time working with your show animal. And if it's your very first time trying to catch your animal, I always recommend putting them in a chute first. So if you have livestock, really make sure that you have some sort of way to handle them in a chute or a head gate. What we're working with today, and what you really should be using if you're working with a show animal, a steer or a heifer, is a rope halter. So this can be kind of confusing the first time that you look at it. There's a lot of different loops, and I sometimes see people putting this on incorrectly. That's okay. It is kind of confusing at first. The way that I remember how to put this on correctly is that when you're looking at this halter, it has two loops. It has one that doesn't really move that easily, and it has another one that slides very easily. This is the part that goes underneath the chin, and you can see on this loop, it can point down or it can point up. This loop should always point down, and you should always be working on the left side of your animal. This time catching your animal, you want to give quite a bit of slack in both the part that goes above their head or behind their poll and underneath their jaw, especially if you don't have access to a chute and you're just trying to catch them out in a pen, because that allows you to be able to just do this, like catch them like that, and then you can really quickly just get it around their ears and then pull. It doesn't have to be perfect right when you first catch them, because you're just trying to get control of them at first. And most animals, once their halter broken, they'll understand I've been caught, and they'll allow you to just stand and adjust. That's really it. So it's pointing down, go through the nose, behind each ear, and then pull it tight. One thing that you want to keep in mind when your animal has the halter on is you don't want this you do not want the nose part of the halter too far down their muzzle, because what can happen? They can really easily just slip out. That defeats the whole purpose, right? He's a good sport here. So you really want it to be fit. This is where adjusting this other piece comes in. You want it just midway up their nose. Another thing when you're working with your animals, once you do have a halter on, never round. Never do this when you're leading, because what can happen? He gets spooked and I go with it. You don't need to be right up on his face when you're leading him. You can be probably, I'd say, like 1 hand's worth of distance away from his face. Don't give them a lot of slack. You want to be fairly close to their face so that you have control of them. If you don't have access to a chute, or you maybe don't want to run your animal through the chute every single time, but they're still a little bit ornery and don't want to be caught freely in the pen, here's another good way to try to catch your animal when they're out in the pen. Again, it's best to have multiple people helping you do this, or at least one other person helping you do this. What you can do is you can wedge them in between a gate like this, and then just catch them through the bars of the gate. This is just another way that you can do this, where you can just reach through and quickly grab them. If your animal gets more halter broke, you can do a few different other ways of catching him. They'll get easier to catch, but sometimes they get a little bit silly. They know they're about to be caught and they don't always want to be caught. And so one way that I've learned that you can catch them, because as I've said before, once they realize they're caught, they kind of just accept it, is you can take the slack of your lead line from your halter, and you can kind of approach them and wrap it around their neck so that they're caught from their neck, and then that gives you enough time and control to be able to slip this on. And see, I didn't catch him perfectly, but he knows that he's caught, so now I can adjust. It's not going to look beautiful every time,
But once you know your animal and they get to know you more, you're able to kind of work with them and figure it out. Another way, and this is when you're aware of their flight zones, is you can just kind of take the top, like hold it from the top, the part that goes around their poll, have a lot of slack here on the chin piece, and you can kind of approach them. Sometimes you got to go slowly because they're feeling silly. You felt that pressure and you moved away. You can even approach him from the front if he's tame enough to do that. And then you can just catch him. Ta-da! When it's time to let your animal go, remember again, this is the part that's adjustable. So what I like to do is just pull on this loop and just kind of release them. You don't want to let them go from like this back part here because it can just be kind of a mess. So you pull and whoop, that's it. We hope you learned something and you got some new tips and tricks for how to put a halter on. Again, just take your time. It takes a lot of practice, and be patient with yourself and with your show calf. As always, work with your extension agent, work with your ag teachers, and if you're wanting to learn more, go to animalscience.tamu.edu.